Hello and welcome back to Mompreneur Mastery. If you caught last week's episode, we talked all about why Instagram has felt a little off lately. The pressure, the noise, the hustle-heavy expectations, especially if you're a mom trying to build a business during nap time or school drop-offs, and the 7 minutes of quiet you get when your kids finally decide to eat their lunch. So today I want to pick up right where we left off last week, because the issue isn't that you are not showing up. The issue is that most content advice out there stops at vanity metrics and skips the part that actually leads to sales, your messaging and your strategy. So let's talk about those missing pieces. Welcome to Mompreneur Mastery, content strategy that sells without spending all day online or having to sell your soul to the algorithm. I'm Sydney O'Brien, homeschooling mom of 3, military spouse, and marketing and messaging strategist for women who are so over the pressure to just post more, keep up with trends, or use fake urgency and income claims to hit sales goals. This show is your permission slip to quiet the noise, clarify your message, and create content that connects and converts, even in the tiny windows of mom life. A key message, or tip rather, that I see shared a lot is based on quantity, like post more, send more emails if you want more sales, all of these things, which, like, yes, getting more visible does help, but if you don't have the strategy and the messaging behind it, one, it's not going to guide people to get the sale. You can't just be like, hey, buy my thing and have people buy your thing. You have to have that funnel, that buyer journey in there. And two, if your messaging doesn't resonate with your audience, they're not going to take action on it. So you need both of those two things. You need that strategy to have that buyer journey mapped out within your content, wherever you're sharing it. And you need to have the right messaging. You need to be using the right words and positioning your offer in the right way so that it actually connects and they're interested in it. You could have the most aesthetic reels. You could use the highest converting template for your emails, and it's still not going to be as successful as it would be if you had the strategy and the messaging behind your marketing as a whole. Consistency matters. Posting enough matters and can certainly get those touch points that you need in order to get the sale. But consistency without clarity around the strategy and messaging leads to just straight up exhaustion, honestly, and lots of feelings of overwhelm and disappointment, and no one wants that. So that is where so many mom business owners get stuck. They're showing up, they're doing the work, but then their content isn't converting, not because they're doing it wrong, but because they were told to focus on output and not impact. Let's zoom out for just a second here, okay? People are becoming more intentional with their money. The economy has shifted. We're consuming more marketing content than ever. People are being more skeptical, as they rightfully should. So you need those more touch points. You need people to interact with you more. You need to have more trust before they commit to buying from you. And like I said, they absolutely should. The market is more saturated than ever between economic uncertainty and a nonstop scroll of sales pitches. Buyers are getting pickier in the best way. They don't want pressure. They want to feel seen. They want to feel understood, and they want to feel safe making this investment decision. And the thing that builds all of that is going to be your messaging. It's not hopping on trends. It's not using templates that someone swears will get you $20,000 a month because that's what it did for them. And it's not going to be that hook that one account said got them a viral reel. Messaging is what makes your content stand out and stick. That is what builds trust. That is what builds the connection that you need before you ever even make an offer, before you invite them to work with you in whatever capacity you do your work. So when you have the strategy behind that message, you stop second guessing every post. You know where each piece fits and what job it's doing, and that is what makes content convert. Showing up with strategy doesn't mean you need a 90-day content calendar and a spreadsheet full of hooks to use and reuse just like everyone else's. It just means understanding that every piece of content should do a specific job. Now here's how I break it down. The first step is growth. Making sure your content is attracting the right people, not just getting more followers or more people on your list. You want the right people that are actually going to care about what you have to say. And then the next step is engagement. and connection. You want content that gets them to interact with you and see themselves in what you share. And then you need trust. You need content that builds belief in you, in your process, and your offer. And then is the sales step. Content that clearly invites them to take the next step to working with you so that you can help them with whatever problem it is that you help them with. So when you structure your content this way, whether it's a reel, an email, a podcast episode, your audience doesn't just scroll by or move your email to trash. They stop, they pay attention, they start connecting and trusting you. And eventually, when they're ready, because we're not into pressuring people, they'll hire you. And it's not just posting to post, you're leading them on a journey and using the right words to do it. So if Instagram hasn't been converting like it used to, here's your reminder. You're not behind. You're not doing it wrong. You're ready for more than post and hope. And if you haven't yet, listen to episode 98 of Mompreneur Mastery to see what shifts are happening over on Instagram and how that should be affecting your Instagram strategy. And then also think about the shift from content chaos to content that converts, because that all happens when you have messaging and strategy behind all of your content. That's where I'm focusing, not just in my own business, but inside the work I do with moms who want their time to actually mean something, because we don't have hours to waste on content that isn't getting those touch points that we need. And not just any touch points, the ones that build the connection and the trust for our ideal audience. We need it to work. And now I've got something to help you do exactly that. I have created a free tool called the Buyer Journey Content Map to help you take everything that I just talked about and apply it to your own content. It walks you through exactly what kind of content to create at each stage of your audience's journey, so you're not guessing anymore. And wherever you're showing up online marketing your business, all of that is in sync with an overall strategy that helps get those touch points you need, that connection you need, that trust you need to get clients for your business. No more wondering what to post, no more trying to do it all, just clear strategic content that moves people from stranger to sale. You can grab it for free right now at the link in the show notes. It's called the Buyer Journey Content Map. Thank you so much for listening. And just a reminder, you're doing more than enough. Now it's just time to make sure that effort means more. That's it for this episode of Mompreneur Mastery. If you're building a business around your life, not the other way around, and you're tired of being told to hustle harder to make sales when you're already hustling at 110%, I hope this gave you a breath of fresh air. And if it did, I would love it if you left a quick review or shared this with another mom entrepreneur who is ready to market with more strategy and way less stress. And if you want to see what a cohesive content map across multiple platforms with strategic messaging looks like, check out the link in the show notes to grab your free copy of the Buyer Journey Content Map. I'll see you next time.